Evaluate the inverse cosine of a negative root 3 over 2. First up, let's rewrite cosine of theta equals that negative root 3 over 2. Next, we want to make sure that we are keeping in mind where this angle could possibly be. Now for cosine, our angle is going to come from the first quadrant or the second quadrant. So it's going to be in there somewhere. Now let's look at the fact that we have root 3 over 2. And if we want to approach this taking a look for SOHCAHTOA, if that works, where this root 3 could be the adjacent side and 2 could be the hypotenuse. So then we come over here and we look at our two special triangles and see if we have a root 3 and a 2 as our sides. And I notice, well, those are two sides on the 30, 60, 90. So root 3 is the adjacent side and 2 is the hypotenuse. So is there an angle that has root 3 as the adjacent and 2 is as the hypotenuse? And we actually are looking at that 30-degree angle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put this 30-degree angle in this first quadrant. Here's 30 degrees. Now I know across from the 30 is the 1, which means here's the root 3 with 2 is the hypotenuse. So if we were to do cosine of this 30-degree angle, we would get adjacent over hypotenuse, and we have a positive root 3 over 2. We actually need a negative root 3 over 2. So that tells me, okay, the angle must be in the other quadrant, the other possible spot for it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 30-degree over here. Now remember, that 30 degrees has to come off the x-axis. Everything comes off the x-axis. So if we're heading to the left, that's going to make this a negative root 3. It will be a positive 1. You can, that doesn't even look like a 1, but that's a 1. And then hypotenuse is 2. So when we do the cosine of this angle over here, we get the adjacent side and the hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse, negative root 3 over 2. That's exactly what we're looking for. So we know where our angle is. Now here's where cosine gets a little bit tricky. This is where the angle is, but I can't go ahead and say that my angle is 30 degrees because 30 degrees is going to be over here with this first one that didn't work out. Remember, angles don't start on this, this spot off the negative x-axis. Our angle has to start over here. So I know where it's going to land, so my angle starts here. I'm going to just follow along, and I'm at 90 all the way over to that, and that's where the angle is. So a couple ways we can go about finding this. I know if I had gone the whole way, we'd have 180. So let's just go ahead and subtract off that 30 to get 150 degrees for our angle. So theta is 150 degrees. Now in radians, I might ask myself, well, how many of those 30-degree angles fit into 180? And I know there's 6 of them, so we're going to deal with pi over 6's, but how many pi over 6's get us to that spot? There's going to be 6 total, and we're going all but one of them, so it is going to be a 5 pi over 6 angle. So again, cosine is tricky because we have to remember where angles actually start, and you can have some angles that are greater than 90 degrees in here, so be careful with those cosines.